What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today, and a couple days ago I put out a video that I ended up taking down that was called my biggest hobby pet peeve. There's a couple reasons why I took it down. Number one is that I don't feel that I achieved my goal with it. Whenever I put out a video, the goal is always to put out something that's going to be either educational, inspirational, or entertaining. And if I feel like I didn't hit at least one of those three things, then it's nothing more than filler content, and I rake the video back. There's some times where I've scrapped whole videos that I spent time on just because I thought that the end product wasn't up to the standard of what I want to put out. Some of that's me being my own harshest critic. Some of it's probably valid because it's just, forced, it feels at times. I ended up taking it down. The other reason was because of this comment. But what it allowed me to do is make this video, so in some ways it's a blessing in disguise. And look, I'm no stranger to getting negative comments. When you grow a channel of a size that has at least a few thousand subscribers, in fact, you don't even have to get that size, usually you're going to run into some troll comments or some people who are critical of you, and most of the time they're people who don't actually make content themselves. It's usually what ends up happening. This is also the case here, but this is someone who's appeared on other content creators' channels, Mike Petty. And Mike, if you're watching this before I get any more along on this, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you about what I'm about to talk about today, and maybe what you were thinking when you wrote this comment. My email is down below if you want to reach out via email. I'm sure there's several people in the YouTube community who have my phone number that would gladly pass it on to you as well. So if you would like to reach out, I am extending that olive branch. I will show that class here. I met Mike Petty a couple years ago at the Strongsville card show in Strongsville, and he was very nice then, very cordial. We shook hands, nice to meet you, etc., etc. Didn't really speak to him too much since then, and he's never commented on any of my videos until now. And I'll tell you what, with this comment, I am now changing my biggest hobby pet peeve, because yes, does it get annoying dealing with last one did constantly? You better believe it does. And he even says so here. That I would agree with this last statement in the first paragraph. Sounds like you work with jack-me-offs every damn day. Yeah, I deal with some interesting characters. In fact, some of them you've seen on these vlogs for those who watch the channel regularly. There's A Sale is a Sale. There's the Blake Quorum Uptown. They've kind of become little memes within this channel, and it's kind of funny now that I have those kind of recurring jokes that pop up every now and again that people will quote. It's kind of funny how that all plays out. And there's a ton of stuff that you guys don't even see. I mean, there are some really interesting keyboard warriors out there who tend to come out sometimes when I'm negotiating. It is yeah, and I'm glad that Mike doesn't go out there and say the last one did. And yeah, he's right. Is my video going to move the earth in any ways and stop people from using that? No, of course not. I'm not naive to think that. I just wanted to express myself and put it out there that, like, hey, this kind of sucks. This is why I think it sucks. But for someone who is part of a vintage community that always seems to be preaching about uplifting others and collect what you love and all this positivity, it seems very out of place to say, stop doing shows then, Crazy Eddie. I can't wait for the day when you are stuck with your James Taylors. Talk about reveling in the failure of someone else. I mean, come on now. So, I mean, to me what that means is, I can't wait for the day when you fail. You should be happy one idiot is asking for whoever that is. I'm sorry that you don't know who Josh Jacobs is. Okay? There are people out there who actually like modern sports who watch the games. And they want to collect players from today. There are people I know who collect current players. I know it seems like in the world of ultramodern it's all just flippers, but I don't think it's really all that different from any other era where people want to collect the stars of today. There are people who have been asking me for Shohei Ohtani cards who haven't collected a baseball card a day in their life. They do football and basketball, but there's something about Shohei Ohtani that has attracted them to baseball cards. Even Aaron Judge has done that, but Ohtani has kind of done it on a different level. And to me, that's pretty damn cool. I think it's really awesome that someone has that much influence in the space of sports that they can bring someone in. And I'm sorry that it wasn't Mickey Mantle who did that, or Honus Wagner, or Reggie Jackson, or any other vintage star, but it happens to be the guy that's playing now. It's the guy who we see on TV every single day, or on social media every single day. Shohei Ohtani. He's the guy playing now, and people love sports. They like to collect guys who are playing now. There are some people who also like to collect vintage cards. Mike is a vintage card collector, and Mike, I admire that about you. I think that's really cool. You love the history of the game, you love these all-time greats, and you collect the cards. To me, that's pretty cool. I made a podcast episode a few weeks back about Pokemon, and how I said that I basically asked the question, does it belong in card shows? And I said, yeah, this is how I would do it. And some people took that right away as me being negative and thinking that it was weird that I was attacking and it's always an attack, right? Oh, they're launching an attack on me. No, it's not an attack. It was just me simply asking, should there be TCG cards at a sports card show? But I made it very evident in there that it just wasn't for me. But what I don't want to do, just because someone else really enjoys Pokemon, in fact, there's a lot of people who really enjoy it, is to tear down their hobby. To make it where, they need to stop doing shows if they're going to just bring this TCG stuff that I don't like into the space. Yeah. And I'm not rooting for any of their downfall. There's people in that space right now who are putting a lot of money into Pokemon that will probably end up getting crushed. They're probably going way above their means, and they will get crushed. It happens anytime that a market heats up because it usually cools down, and if you are the one left holding the bag, well, prepare for impact. That's all I can say. But am I rooting for their downfalls? No, I do not take pride in the downfall of other people. I do not. When bad news comes out about one of the two content creators that I loathe, I am not going to come on here and dunk on them. That is not my style. I have thought about making videos before calling out specific content creators, but all that does is self-serving, tearing down of other people. It will not change anything. It is not really beneficial to anyone. It's toxic. It does not belong in this space. So I keep it to myself. If someone has a take that I disagree with, I may argue with them, but I'm not going to resort to name calling or rooting for their downfall like you see here. And what I think is really ironic about this, and what my biggest pet peeve has now become, is that so many vintage collectors out there preach about, oh, collect what you love. But is that really true? Because it also seems to be a lot of times that a lot of vintage collectors that I have dealt with over the years, and look, I'm not saying everyone, before anyone gets all huffing and puffing, like, I'm not saying everyone's like this, okay? There's a lot of really good people out there. But there's also a significant number of people who I've interacted with at shows who talk down to me, act like I'm an idiot. Oh, do you know who Mickey Mantle is? Real question I've been asked before. And what is usually the common thread among those? It's people who think that I look young and I don't know anything about vintage cards, and it usually comes at vintage heavy shows. The show where it's happened to me the most is the Strongsville show, and the second most would be the Moeller card show, the one that's close to home for me. Both vintage dominated shows, and in both cases I have had dealers talk down to me, act like I'm stupid, try to explain things for me even though I didn't ask a question, and I don't know if they think that they're trying to be helpful. I don't know what the intention really there is, but the way that it comes off is, hey idiot, let me tell you about these vintage cards. This isn't like any of that shiny crap. I remember at the National a few years ago, a vintage dealer waving me down, wanting to buy cards from me. They saw I had my carrying case with me, and they were the one who asked me, waving me down on the show floor, do you have anything to sell? And then I showed them what I had. They had a few modern cards in their case, and that's mostly what I had with me, and they tell me, nah, I don't want any of this crap. Well, you're the one who waved me over, bud. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, but yeah, that's real positive there. You call someone else's stuff that they brought with them junk or crap, unsolicited. Again, not all vintage dealers, of course. There's a lot of really great ones out there, a lot that I have established rapport with over the years. But I want to break down this idea that a lot of the toxicity, a lot of the vitriol that comes out is simply the new people who are coming in who don't know any better, because there's a lot of people in the old guard who make assumptions about things they know absolutely nothing about. I highly doubt Mike has ever watched one of my videos, and Mike, if you have, I think that your comment is really off base then. I don't think you really got what I'm about when you watch those videos. I truly don't. I approach my vlogs in a very different way from most people, and I understand that that approach probably caps my reach out there. I will not be one of these channels with 100,000 subscribers. I would have to do a certain type of content in order to do that. That's not the content I'm going to do. I'm going to do the content that I enjoy. And I'm not going to stop doing shows because I love doing shows. I love being able to set up cards, interact with people, even when the negative interactions creep their way in. Guess what? You do any kind of sales job, there's going to be some form of negative interaction. I can almost guarantee that 4 out of 5 people listening to this have worked at least some retail or sales type of job. And guess what? You deal with some dicks no matter where you go. It's going to happen. It's just going to happen. But the positives far outweigh the negatives. There are some times where I will show the negatives. And some people have given me flack for that. But I'm trying to show it from an honest perspective of what really goes on, and show sometimes that no, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. It's not always people paying strong and good vibes all around. But there's some difficult times. There's times where you have bad shows. There's times where interactions get tense. They get sour. And I want to show the full spectrum of it, because it also makes it that much more special when things really do go well. It really shows a better picture of what I am trying to put out there. And what I'm trying to put out there is just my experiences as a dealer, giving you my thoughts of how I approach it. I want to be able to talk about the cards that I pick up, and I'm able to do that in a way that I think is very effective. And I don't talk about cards that I add into my own collection anymore. I've gotten criticism for that too. Why don't you make those videos? Oh, your channel is boring now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it does not appeal to you. It will not appeal to everyone. I do not feel the need to show off my own personal collection on here, especially because if it's mostly modern, who's to say I'm not going to get a comment like this, that, oh, this is all junk, right? One of those types of comments where I'm going to be stuck with my Amon-Ra St. Browns. Here's a crazy concept. Maybe I bought those because I really enjoyed the player and I really love the cards. That's what I'm passionate about. And just because someone else isn't passionate about it doesn't mean that I can't be. I understand that this video will probably be one of the most divisive ones I have ever done, but I think it's extremely important to put this out there, because all the time I see this stereotype that it's only these types of people who are making negative comments, or they're the ones who have taken something away from the YouTube community. Let me ask you this. If you're a content creator out there and you got a comment like this on your video, how would you feel? How would you feel if you were just showing off your collection, which wasn't what I was doing in this video? It's a little bit different for me. But if someone just assumed who you were based off of one video, how would you feel? And there's bad actors in every single segment out there. Truthfully, there is. But I want to point out that there is no group that is holier than thou. That even the people who claim that they're pure collectors, or the people out there who are collector focused, it's not always collector focused and building up others. Sometimes it's pulling others down. And I don't think that's okay. I truly don't. So I think this is an important video to make. And Mike, sorry, not sorry. You know, you left this comment on my video. I felt like this was the appropriate way to respond to it. That's all I have for today. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.